Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we've got another fix it video. Another video where I buy something faulty on eBay and I do my best to fix it with very limited tools and also very limited skills. Now I can tell by the size of this what it is, and if I'm correct it should be a faulty Xbox One. So the original black one, not the S, and unfortunately not the X, it's just the standard Xbox One. So let's get into it. I'm going to need to get scissors. Right, I'll show you the eBay listing for this in a minute once I unpack it. It is very well packed. Right, here we go. Okay, it does look very battered, but it looks like that security seal is intact, which is good. We're missing the grill at the side here. Let's see what else comes in here. Right, okay, we've just got the power supply as well, which looks to be fine. Right, okay, so I'm going to show you the eBay listing. There's no controller here. Let me show you what I paid for this. Alright, okay, so I paid £65 plus £7 postage, so £72. Like anything, when it comes to anything gaming related on eBay or anything phone related, second-hand stuff's really expensive. You think that a broken Xbox One would be about £30 or £40, but it's not the case. So if you look at the description, it says here, the Xbox One doesn't connect to Wi-Fi. It does connect to an Ethernet cable, but then it won't update to play games, but it will play DVDs. I have taken a picture of the error message when the Xbox is turned on. This has been due to kids yanking it and dropping on the floor. It comes with the power pack only. Right, well, I like that. That to me sounds honest, because it is something that would happen if it was up on a shelf and the kids walk past, hit the power supply or controller. In theory, the Xbox could fall onto the floor. Hopefully, this is a genuine one where that is actually what's happened to it. And if you have a look here, this is the error message. There is a hardware problem. Sorry, the wireless network hardware on this console is not working. It will need to be sent in for repair. To do this, visit xbox.com blah 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 repair. Right, okay, so as you can see, to me that's completely believable. The price is not cheap at all, because considering it doesn't come with a controller, you can see then to get a second-hand, a second-hand controller, you're going to be paying £20. So you're looking at paying £92, which is a lot of money. But that is what the market dictates, and that is the price of them. So that's what I had to pay to get this one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to connect it up to the TV just to verify that that is the fault, and then we'll take it apart and see what the problem is. Unfortunately, this thing here is missing, so I'm going to have to look into getting a spares or repair one of them, and that's probably going to add up the price for another £5 or so. But there's no point in even looking at that until I can get it working. So I might not even be able to get it working. We'll have to see what happens. Let's connect it up to the TV and see what's what. Right, okay, so I've put a HDMI cable from that to the TV. I've plugged in the power adapter there. Let's turn it on and see what happens. I can hear this whirring away. I forget how noisy the original Xbox One is compared to the Xbox One S, and also the size difference and the fact that you've got an external power brick as well. Right, okay, so we're on the correct one. Let's hit the little home button here. Let's see what happens. Let's try and push this back so you can see exactly what's happening. Right, okay, so let's turn on the controller, and we're going to sync it up by tapping the button here. That's just actually connected to my Xbox, so ignore the fact that you just heard a noise. It's connected to my Xbox in the background, and I'm going to hit the sync button at the edge here, which just doesn't seem to be actually working. Right, well that's not clicking in. Right, so that's not going to work. That should... Did it work? Hold on. No, that's not clicking in. Well, so I'm going to have to get a USB cable and connect it from here to here to make it sync up via that. So that's another thing now that I have to look into, that sync button's not working. So it's not just a Wi-Fi issue, is it? But if it was dropped on that side, you could imagine it making the button faulty as well. Well, I'm just going to use the little USB cable. These should work. They will only not work if they use two wires, just charging ones. But if they use the charging and data, then it should work. Right, okay now. Choose a USB port at the side and plug it into here. There we go. Alright, so it's recognised it. So I should be able to unplug that now. Right, so it's been obviously reset to the beginning. So let's go to English. I'm just going to check my connection. Do you want wired or wireless? Well, let's go to wireless. Choose your wireless network. Add wireless network. Right, so it's not coming up with them, is it? It's asking me to specify the SSID, but it didn't search for them. So let's go back. Choose your wireless network. Let's press Y to refresh. Right, so it's saying which one is yours, but as you can see, nothing's coming up here. So obviously it's not searching for them. So let me go B for back. Let me just do a wire just for the time being, just to see if we can actually get to the the main dashboard. So let me get a wired cable. Okay, so I've got the Ethernet cable now. Plugging it into the port at the back. And I'm just going to go to wired. So it's strange that if there's an issue with the Wi-Fi, that it doesn't let it work on a wired connection, because that's what it said in the description, that you can't update games or anything even though the wired connection works. Right, it says there is a hardware problem. Sorry, the wireless network hardware on this console is not working. It will need to be sent in for repair to do this. So you can't actually connect it up to a wired cable either. Right, okay, I'm just going to try that one more time. I'd obviously just fast forward through to the end again. Right, and it said exactly the same thing again. So before we open it up, I'm just going to try to do like a power cycle on it. So I'm just going to hold down the Xbox button for, I can't remember how long it is, about 10 or 15 seconds. And this will force it to shut down. I'm going to do wireless again just to see. Refresh list. No, so it's not there. Right, let's do wired. The same thing again. So I'm going to shut this down and take it apart. Okay, so let's try and take this thing apart. So the grill is already off on the side, so we're just going to have to slide the spit that way. Might be able to find out now why that's not working. Doesn't seem to be hitting against anything. I'm not sure if there should be some sort of button or something under there to press against. This is just a cover. I'm wondering... That's weird. Hold on now. Oh, there, it's clicking now. That wasn't clicking earlier, was it? Maybe there's an actual... Oh, do you know what? It's the ribbon cable, the other side of the ribbon cable. There must be one of those little clicky buttons. Well, that definitely wasn't clicking earlier, probably because this was ever so slightly out. So I'm hoping... I can't get it out now, but I'm hoping now that that will sync up. Right, let's just try to get that bit out again. I'll have to remember to test that at the end. There we go. So if it was like that, it's not going to click, and that's exactly what was happening. But if it's fully in, then it will click. Like that. Right, okay, so that's good news. Right, you can see that's a little hole there, you know, if you want to get the disc out. So basically you have to get a very long, thin Allen key or some sort of needle or something, and that's how you can get stuck discs out. Right, okay, so we're going to have to try to prise this apart, I presume. Can't see any screws or anything on it. Right, okay, let's have a look now. So it looks like that goes in like that. There we go, okay. So it lifts up like so. Right, okay, so I said it hasn't been apart before, but if you have a look now, can you see when I do that? That's lifting up, but the security tab is still in place there. So there's a chance that it could have been taken apart before. Now I'm just going to use these little cheapy pry tools to try and get the rest unhinged. Okay, this is easier. Right, let me be careful now in case there's going to be attachments for those little buttons at the front. Yeah, there is here. Right, so I've got to bring it around the front here. Okay. Right, so can you see there's a little connection here? Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay, that was actually quite easy. So all it was like a little blue thing that just goes around here just to hold it in place, and then it's just got one of these things to lift in and, you know, push in and out. So when it's out, you put the ribbon cable in and then just slot it in. Right. Okay. So first things first. Well, if we did get it working, we have to definitely give it a clean. You can see that there is a lot of dust in here. So what I'm thinking there's something faulty with this bit here, but it all looks to be okay. I was maybe expecting to see it smashed or maybe out of this part at the front, this bit here, this wire, but it's all attached, which is a bit of a shame. I presume this is the Wi-Fi card, unless that's the Bluetooth card or something. But I think that's going to be. Well, I say Bluetooth, but this hasn't got Bluetooth, has it? But whatever it uses to connect the controllers to the actual Xbox, I don't believe it's Bluetooth. I believe it's their own proprietary 2.4 gigahertz signal. Maybe this card does both of them, but yet the controller is connecting okay. It's just the Wi-Fi that's not connecting. Let's pop it off and have a look at it. So it looks like they used some sort of Torx to get to all the screws. Right, well that's a nice fit, and that's a T9. Right, there's a connector under here. There we go. Right, well there is one tiny little pin missing there, but I presume it's supposed to be missing. If you have a look there, you can see in that bottom right hand corner. Right, it looks to be okay. Just going to take the circuit board off at the front here just to see if it looks dodgy at all. Well, that looks like it's plugged in down the bottom. I don't think I'll be able to get to that without undoing everything. I wonder, could it be a faulty card here? Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this unplugged, and let's see, I'm going to leave it unplugged, and then I'm going to put the Xbox back on and see what fault it comes out with. Right, and it's come up with the same problem again. So I think that card might well be the, whether we put the card in or out, this one here, whether it's in or out, the exact same problem happens. So I think maybe it's a bad card. Now I'm just going to unplug this just to see if it loses sync. Yeah, so it's not syncing up without it. So it looks like, unless I've got some other issues, it looks like this card does both the Wi-Fi and also the controller sync as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this card with one from a working Xbox One, and then see if that fixes a problem. If it is, then I know that you can get these on eBay. I'm not sure about the price of them, but I wouldn't say they're very expensive, but we'll check that later. Let's make sure it is this that's faulty to begin with. Okay, so with this grill we're just going to ease it out of place, because obviously with the last one you didn't see me do that because there was no grill on it. Actually pops out quite easy. There we go. Okay, so it looks like you will be able to buy these as replacements to neaten up the broken one. So it's much easier when you know how. So if you look at it now, I'm going to go to around about here. So on the right hand side I pushed in, and now around about here again I'm going to push in, and that should be the next tab. There we go, and around about here. There we go. Yeah. So once you know, you can see how easy it is. So if you were doing these every single day, it really would be easy to do. Right, okay, so that's also got a missing pin at the bottom, so it's definitely not the pins that's faulty. Right, let's put this good one now onto the bad console and see what's happening. No, there's nothing coming up. Add wireless network, SSID again. So it doesn't look like it's the card. Let me just want to make sure. I'm just going to put these slightly in here just in case they do have to get a ground. Obviously don't be putting your hands in the console when it's on like I'm doing here. I'm just touching these top little bits. Okay, so they're in now. I wouldn't say that would make any difference at all. Now it should be coming up for the wireless networks to the left hand side, so it's not that card that's faulty. Unless, let me just put the screws back in, just there is a little sort of ground thing around here, just again, in case they have to ground to the bodywork to be able to do it. No, nothing there. I'm going to get the Ethernet cable, just to see if it will recognise the wired one. Right, and it says the same thing again. So a little bit disappointed because I really thought that it would be an easy fix with this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to get deeper into the Xbox. So perhaps whatever's connecting the pins to this is faulty. You know, there may be, I need to have a look on the other side of that and see what the pins are connected to. So I'm going to turn this off and then take it apart. So that's one good thing about having a faulty thing and a working thing, because if I just had this on its own, 100% I would have then bought one of them, and I would have been disappointed because I've realised then that this is not the actual fault. But it's very hard if you've only got the one faulty thing to do fault finding. It's so much easier if you have a working one and a faulty one, because then you can take parts out of the working one and vice versa, put the bad parts into the working one, and then eventually you can pinpoint what the problem is. Obviously now when I'm doing this, the power supply is completely disconnected.
Oh, okay, it's just that one at the back there. Oh, well, that's good if it's wires there. Wouldn't it be great if one of them had just become a bit dislodged? It's very dusty in here. Right, so let's undo that connector. There we go. Right, I'm going to have a good look at this connector now, see if I can see anything that's not right with it. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check for continuity between the pins. So for example, with this one, when you touch the wires together, my multimeter makes a noise. So I'm going to go in between each of the pins and see if there's continuity, and then I'll know whether the cable's faulty or not. That's that one. Let's move it along one. That's okay, let's move it along one. That's okay. Let's move it along one. Right, okay, so they're all okay. So there's definitely nothing wrong, well, I say definitely, but not as far as I can see, with this wire or the connectors. So we can put that to one side, and let's go deeper into it now. So this whole thing come out? Yeah. It's a good clean. Right, let's get rid of this drive. It's very easy to replace. Well, realistically now, if it's what else could it be unless there's a problem with the actual main board itself? See if I can take this out. I mean, could this be faulty if this was dropped with that little aerial connection there? Wonder whether that was a little bit loose, you know, if it had been dropped a few times. Wonder if it'd be worth trying it again now with that fully pushed in there. Might be worth a try. Because I was wobbling that, so it was probably me that made it loose, but I think before I go any further it is definitely worth a try. I'm still going by the fact that the listing said that it was due to the kids yanking it, you know, so if it dropped, and especially that right left hand side has been smashed. Or, do you know what I'm thinking, to get into it you have to take off the grill, don't you? So maybe they were trying to get into it to fix this problem. See, that could also happen, couldn't it? Let's say now if it was a proper fault that had happened, not caused by, for example, the console falling off a stand. Let's just say if it went faulty, then to get into it, you're going to have to open up that side grille. So when I seen the side grille was missing, I thought that maybe it's because it had fallen down and smashed. But maybe it's missing because it was broken when they were trying to yank it out to get into this. So maybe this has been repaired, you know, maybe this has been repaired before. Who knows? It is possible. Right, so that's fully pushed in now, and that's fully pushed in. Let's give it a go. Still not coming up. Oh, this is a strange one, isn't it? Could it be something with the main board? I mean, if it is, I'm not going to be able to fix it. Or I wonder whether it's some update fault. You know, maybe the update wasn't done properly. Right, let's pop in the wired Ethernet. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to put in the Ethernet, and let's see if it can boot up just with the Ethernet cable itself. So I've got no way of turning it off. I'm just going to pull the plug. It's not a simple fix. I really thought it was just going to be that little card there. So, see, like always, if you were to get this off one of your friends and then you knew the history of it, you've got more chance of fixing it.
when you buy things off eBay, you don't know how many people have already tried to fix that thing. So you know, that's the problem with it. Maybe this has already been into a repair shop. Maybe the customer's already, you know, the original owner of it has already tried to fix it numerous times. They might have already tried to change that Wi-Fi card. That's the problem. You never get the full story with eBay. But you know, I don't know, do I? This could be a genuine one. It could have just fallen off the shelf and then not worked since then. But saying that, the Xbox has been reset, hasn't it? So if it wasn't working, but he did say it works with DVDs, but I can't actually. Maybe I should put a DVD in to see what happens, but I can't actually get past this initial screen. Maybe it was working before then, but he's reset it to sell it, and now that it's been reset, it's not working again. No, it says there's a hardware problem. It says exactly the same thing again. Right, okay. I suppose I'm gonna have to look at that main board and see if I can see anything, which is going to be unlikely. But there's not really much else I can do. Right, okay, let me take the main board out again. Here we go, it's out. Seems to be a lot of marks around here. I wonder, is that normal or not? Can you see, like, kind of like watermarks, aren't they? And also on the copper there, it looks like it's gone a little bit. Is that little bit of verdigris, you know, when copper gets wet? I hope this hasn't been water damaged. How would it get water damaged unless it was in a house with a flood? Maybe not, maybe it's just normal. Just looks a bit strange because we do have just staining everywhere. No, I don't think it is, because these things don't actually line up with anything down here. It's just like perfect shapes around it. Maybe in the factory when they're doing it, maybe they have to apply some paste or something to it. Because if it was water damage, it would just be everywhere, wouldn't it? It wouldn't just be in certain sections, and these sections don't correspond to the ones down here either. So no, I don't think it is anything like that. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my multimeter out, and I'm just going to try to trace everything back from here, just to see what's happening. First things first, I'm going to give it a good clean. Right, okay, so I've taken it outside, I've given it a good clean, blew in here, got rid of all the dust. It was absolutely filthy. So as you can see now, it's not perfect, but it's not far off. So it looks nice and clean. So now it's going to be a lot nicer to work on, rather than everything you touch being covered in dust. So now I'm going to get my multimeter and I'm going to go across the board, see if I can see anything obvious. Okay, so I've got my multimeter set to continuity, and when I touch the leads together they make a noise. So I'm just going to be going across various different components just to see if I've got continuity between things. So I'm just starting here, which is where the faulty, you know, where the Wi-Fi card is, just to see if I can see anything. Right, okay, unfortunately I can't find anything wrong with this. Admittedly, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just checking continuity between different things. I don't know how to test circuit boards properly. So, I've had a look online, and people with this problem seem to have solved it by just doing things like hard resets and stuff like that. So I'm going to put it all back together, because there's one other thing that I read where somebody said it worked. And what they did is, and I haven't seen this before, they basically held down the sync button, the eject button and the power button all at the same time, and it brought up a special troubleshooting menu, and then they could reset the Xbox from there, and that then might fix the problem. So I'm going to do that rather than muck about with this any longer, because I don't know what I'm doing. I can't see anything obvious. You know, I was hoping that it was just going to be like a, you know, the connection had fallen out because the Xbox got dropped, but I'm starting to think that maybe there wasn't an issue with it being dropped at all. I'm thinking that maybe it's an actual problem with the main board itself. But if it is some kind of update firmware or something issue, then maybe by resetting it will fix it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put it all back together and we'll try that. So I hit these two. So at least I know it is possible to do on this one. So I just have to keep doing it now until I get it right. There we go. Okay, I've done it. Right, let's turn this on and let's try to do something. Right, I think we'll go to reset this Xbox. Keep games and apps, or remove everything. Well, let's just, unless they've got some digital games on here that I could play, let's try this one to begin with. Now it's not let me do anything, so hopefully it did recognise that. Hopefully it's going to do something. Okay, that's good, it's doing something. Preparing console. And if this doesn't do anything, what I'll do is I'll reset it completely and see if that changes anything. Right, let that just whir through. Right, okay, that was good because it went through quicker that time, a lot quicker. Let's go to wireless. No, still nothing there. No. Right, okay, and just because we haven't done it in a while, let's go to wired and plug in the Ethernet cable. No, same thing. The wireless network hardware on this console is not working. It will need to be sent in for repair. Right, okay, let's do this troubleshoot thing and this time try to reset it completely. Right, 30 seconds have passed. Right, it seems very hit and miss to get into this troubleshoot menu, which is half the battle. Right, okay. Now, reset this Xbox, turn off this Xbox. So I presume if I plug in a USB dongle it will go to offline system update. Right, I think I'm going to go to reset this Xbox, and this time I'm going to go to remove everything. I think if this doesn't work now, what I'm going to have to do is look into seeing if I've got a little flash drive around the house and then putting the files, the Xbox files, on that and then doing the offline updates. Really, that's the only other thing. It's the only other thing I can think to do. I'm really now running out of options. No, same problem again. Right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to plug in a USB dongle for that Ethernet just to see what will happen when that happens. Right, so I've got USB 2 and USB 3. Let's go with the USB 3. So now, because I've plugged it into the USB one here, which isn't working because the lights are not on, really it should come up with that it doesn't detect the cable, but I bet you it still just comes up with the error. So it's like it doesn't matter whether it's a cable or Wi-Fi, it's just coming up with the same error. Yeah, it's just on about the wireless network hardware, it's still not working. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off because this has been filming for half the day, and I'm just going to reset it a few more times, and then what I'll do is if it's still not successful, which I don't think it's going to be, I will try to find the flash drive and put the software onto there and then bring it over to here, and then obviously I will film that bit again. Right, so I'll be back to this later. Okay, so I found a little flash drive. This is an 8GB one. I think you need at least 4GB. And if you have a look up here, you will now see that it's downloading. So if you have a look there, 13% off osu1.zip. And these are the instructions here. You can see I've had to click on this bit here, OSU1, in order to do it. So you can just read that in your own time there. You also have to format it to NTFS. And this is the website that you need to go to. Okay, and to format it, obviously it's going to wipe everything that's on your little drive, so make sure you save it onto your computer first, and then you just need to go to this one here, and then you just need to click on it, right click, and if you have a look here you will have the option to format, and then you can see now it's on NTFS, but you just have to click that. Mine was originally on FAT. But yeah, that's it. Then you just go down to start there. So I'm going to have to wait a while. It's going to take 9 minutes to do this. And then when it's downloaded, you have to unzip it. And then when it's unzipped, you have to copy that system update file onto your little flash drive. So there you go. You can see now it's copying across. And that's going to take quite some time because it's over 4GB. Right, okay, so I'm ready to do this now, but just before I do this, I did read somewhere that if you unplug the HDMI cable, sometimes it can work because the Xbox can mistakenly think the HDMI cable is the Ethernet cable, hence the reason it's turning off the Wi-Fi signal. So I'm just booting it up now with the HDMI unplugged. I've got the Ethernet cable currently plugged in, so I'm just going to let it do its thing for about a minute, and then obviously I have to plug the HDMI cable back in to see what's going on the screen. And this time, when it's checking for the connection, I think I'm going to unplug it just to see. It could be a very easy fix. I think it's highly unlikely, but it's worth a go. So I'm just going to leave it for a little bit longer. Well, I'm just going to plug it in and see where we are. Right, so we're at this bit here. So now, if I press A, right, so now I can unplug this. I'm going to press A again, and then I think it was up one and A. No, it's not there again. Okay, I was thinking that was going to be a long shot. Yeah, it's still the same problem. Here we go. So now, as you can see, it's blanked out. So if I do this one here, you can see offline system update is blanked out. So I can't move over to it because it doesn't let me. So hopefully when I plug this in, it should then allow me to click on it. Excellent. So you can see now it's lit up there. So let's give this a go. You can see it's flashing red down here. Right, so it's going to basically install the update, verify the update and apply the update. And then if there is some sort of corrupt firmware or something on it, maybe this will solve it. If not, if it's a problem with, for example, the Ethernet chip, then doing this isn't going to make a blind bit of difference. I did read on another thing that somebody reflowed the Ethernet chip and that fixed it. So after this, if it still doesn't work, I'll do that. I'll put a bit of heat on the chip just to see if it makes any difference or not. I'll probably end up damaging the motherboard, but realistically, there's not much I can do. I've exhausted everything I can think of. So really, that's the last thing I can do. Changing the chips out on the board would be beyond the skills of me. I would like to learn how to do it. I did buy myself a little hot air station, but you know, because I'm inexperienced at it, I've only ever taken a chip off the Nintendo Switch, and that didn't go too well. So you know, it's probably not something that I would get involved with. But I did have a look, and you can get 5 of them from China for about £6 or £7. So it's not, they're not expensive. They're a Realtek chip. I'll if this doesn't work, I'll show you which one it is. Well, actually, while that's doing that, I'll show you now on this Xbox, the other one that I had opened up. Basically, it's this chip here. So apparently, if this one gets reflowed, then it can fix the problem. But this problem isn't really widespread. There we go, this one here. That's the chip there. You see, Realtek RTL8151GNM. So that's G for golf, N for Nigel, M for mother. And it's an Ethernet controller chip. Excuse my writing, I was just scribbling it down. And it's setting it to reflow that chip for a couple of minutes at 300C. I mean, you know, that was only one person saying that. It doesn't seem to be widespread, this problem. As I say, when I looked at it, most people can seem to fix it by just doing things like, you know, the power cycle that I did at the very beginning. So I don't know whether I've just been unlucky here, or I don't know whether this Xbox has been checked out many times already and deemed unrepairable because of the main board, and then just sold on eBay as kind of, you know, oh, you know, it got knocked off a shelf and it's not working. I really don't know. Because it is slightly disappointing, because I thought it was either going to be that little board at the top, the little Wi-Fi board, or possibly the cable feeding it, or maybe one of the connectors had come off from that. And yeah, it was none of them. So really, if it turns out to be that little Ethernet chip, it's the worst thing it could possibly be, because, you know, that's a skill that not many people have, replacing those chips. Right, okay, let's see what happens now. No, exactly the same as what always happens. Right, let's go to wireless. Nope, nothing there. So I think it is going to be that little Realtek chip. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the main board, and I'm going to apply some heat to that chip, because what have I got to lose? I've exhausted every other thing I can possibly do here. So the chances are now that I will probably damage the main board, but I haven't really got much other option. I'm not going to send this away to get repaired, because it's not worth it, because, you know, you can buy a working one for 100 and I think they're about 130 or 140 pounds. So it's, you know, it's not worth me spending any more money on this. I just have to put it down to one of those unfortunate things. I honestly thought that this would be an easy fix, but as you can see, it hasn't been an easy fix. Again, because when you buy something off eBay, you really don't know the true history of it. I like to think that this is a genuine one. I really did believe it was genuine, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I really don't know. But in this instance here, you can see how many things I've done to try and fix it, and I think it does now pinpoint down to that Ethernet chip that's failed. So yeah, I'll give it a go and see what happens. There you go, you can see hardware problem again. Right, so I'm going to get the board out, put it on a tray and apply some heat to it. Okay, so I've got the board on a baking tray here, and I'm also in the kitchen, so hopefully I'm not going to set anything on fire on a tiled floor. Now I've got this rework station, or whatever it's called, reflow station. I only got it the other day. I've only used it once and I wasn't very successful with it, so I'm a complete novice at this. Now I know I said at the beginning of the video that this was a video intended for, you know, like people with very limited tools. I don't expect anybody to be going out and buying one of these, but at this stage now, there's nothing more that can be done unless you're going to hand this over to a professional. In my opinion, it's not going to be fixed. So that's the reason I'm going to try and do this little chip here. So I'm just going to heat it up. It said 2 minutes at 300C. That might be a little bit much, I'm not sure. So I think I might just do 300C for 1 minute. Put it in there, because I can always take it out and do it again. So for this one here, I'm going to be turning it on here. Sorry, turning it on at the back. Then turning it on here. And there we go, it is already at 300. So that's going to start to heat up now in a minute when I take this off here. Okay, and it's going to go up to, let me just see, yeah, 300. Right, so now we're going to zoom right in on this chip, and hopefully you'll be able to read the writing on it. Right, okay, so we're on that chip now. Let's try and heat it up. I don't even know how close you're supposed to go to it, but I'm going to go pretty close. Right, so it's saying I'm at 300 now. I'm going to time 1 minute from now and just move it around the place. Now you could try and do this with a hot air gun, but the thing is the nozzles are normally a bit big on them. So with this nozzle you can see it's quite small, so hopefully I'm just heating up the chip and not all the components around it. But the other day when I did this on my Nintendo Switch, I ended up, well not mine, on a broken one, I ended up heating up the components around it still. That's 45 seconds gone already. Let me have a little look. Is anything melting yet? No, maybe I need to put more air on it. I think I will do it for 2 minutes actually, because it doesn't appear to be doing much yet. Let me whack a bit more air. I'm not even sure if you're supposed to use flux on it or not. I have been given quite a few names of different YouTubers that are good at this sort of stuff, so I need to take a bit of time out to watch their videos and learn about this, because I really want to understand it. I really want to be able to do this. Right, we're coming up to 1 minute 45 seconds now. Just going to give it another 15 seconds I think. Right, that's 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to let it cool down, put it back in and see if it's going to make any difference or not. It doesn't actually feel that hot. Maybe I haven't put enough air on it. But I'll give it a go. Right, so I've just temporarily put it back together, just without the casing. So let's plug in the power and see what we have. Right, so we're still going to the Xbox startup screen. Right, here we go, checking your connection. Let's see. I'm pretty sure on this bit, if you've got an Ethernet cable plugged in, it should just go straight through after this. Not looking good. Nah. Right, okay, it's going to be the same again. Nope. Still exactly the same. Right, okay, I'm going to take the board out again, and this time I'm really going to go for it. I'm going to just heat it up. I'm going to put the air up full, 300, and I'm going to just keep it on there for, you know, with the air up full for a good 2 minutes or longer. Because realistically now, I'm giving up on this because there's nothing more I can do. So I'm prepared to break it because the board isn't going to be sold on to anybody. I'm not going to repair it. I'm not going to change the chip on it. Well, I don't think I will unless I get good at it, and then I can change it, you know, 6 months or a year down the line. But at this moment in time, for me, it's worth the risk to heat it up fully just to see what happens. Okay, let's try it again. No, not working. I'm really disappointed there because I've put so much time into that, and I'm still absolutely the same as it was when I started this hours and hours ago. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to melt that chip off the board completely. So I'm just going to heat it up for ages until the solder melts. I'm going to lift the chip off the board, because what I'm thinking is maybe then if the chip's not there, the signal won't go through it, and then the Wi-Fi network, this Wi-Fi card might kick in instead. So maybe if the chip's faulty, it's confusing the Xbox and it's stopping the signal from going through it. So I'm going to just melt the chip out of it
and see if that makes any difference, because then if it connects just via Wi-Fi, that will be fine. At least then it will be a working Xbox still. Okay, so I've melted the chip out of it now. You can see it's no longer there, and this is it here. It actually came off surprisingly easy. So this is the one here. There we go. Right, okay, so that's it there. So let's pop this back in now and see if we have any luck. Right, okay, so that's it all connected in. I've left the Ethernet cable out, and let's see what happens. Do you know what? This is the most hopeful I've been in a little while now, since for the last couple of hours working on this, because I'm hoping that if the signal just doesn't go anywhere near there, that it will kick onto the Wi-Fi instead. Let's see. No, shut straight down now. Ah, it's a shame. Right, so obviously it needs to chip in there. Oh well, that is disappointing. Let's just plug in this via USB, see if it makes any difference. Can't see how, but oh well, I gave it my best shot. I did everything I could think of. I might put this chip back on and just put heat on again, just to see if anything happens, but really I've done all that I can on this. So you win some, you lose some, and on this one here I definitely lost. But saying that, I've never taken one of these apart before, and I did learn quite a bit, so I would be confident now changing other things out. If I had to change this little front board, if I had to change the disk drive out, if I had to change the Wi-Fi card, things along those lines. You can see that it's all quite modular, it's really easy to do. But when it comes to the motherboard, or whatever it's called, the main board repair, then obviously you need to be an expert for that. So other things I learned is I didn't know about the troubleshoot menu, so that might come in handy, and also how to do the offline updating as well via the flash drive. Again, I never knew that was possible on the Xbox, so I think that's quite useful to know as well. So unfortunately, as far as the video was concerned, it's a very long one and there wasn't a successful outcome. But again, this is an honest video. If you were thinking about buying 40 Xbox Ones on eBay, then you might encounter the same problems that I did. I really thought when I bought it that it was going to be this card here that was faulty, or maybe one of the cables had come out, especially when I heard it had been dropped. I thought that maybe, you know, like for example, that had just snapped off, or one of these had come out, or maybe the connector that goes from the motherboard to here had come off. But as you can see, in this instance, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference, and it is completely money down the drain, because am I going to sell this on? No, I would never do that. I mean, possibly in the future I could list it as, for example, you know, explain exactly what I did, and somebody might still want it because they might want this front bit here, they might want this ribbon cable, they might want this connection here, or this one here, or the speaker or something. So it's going to be worth money to someone. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my eye out for broken Xbox Ones, and then if there was one that had a smashed front part here, I know now that I've got a spare and I'd be able to fix it quite easily, because you see how easy it is to take this on and off, and just to do the ribbon cable there. So yeah, I'll keep my eyes peeled, and if anything interesting comes along, I can get it. Am I tempted to get one of these? Probably not, because realistically, although this came out nice and easy, the chances of me getting another one on easy is pretty slim. But, you know, £6 or £7 from China, it might be worth the risk. I might do that, because I have 5 of them, and as long as I don't melt anything else on the board, I could have a couple of attempts at it, and it might not take too long. Put a bit of flux on, put that on, heat it up for a bit, you never know, I might get lucky. But maybe that isn't the fault at all. Remember, I've only diagnosed this using what I think it could be, and also what one person on the internet said it was, but it might not be that whatsoever. But anyway,
I still hope you got a bit of enjoyment from this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please subscribe for more Fix-It videos. I haven't been deterred. I still love doing stuff like this, and also for how-to videos as well. So thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Bye now.